Okay, guys, so welcome to the first edition of our online newsletter. We will be doing one of these every 8 weeks or so, just to give you an idea of how the Elite Thoroughbred stable is coming along in terms of winners and horses to look out for. So we'll start the 8 week period off with a horse named Cosmic Cameo who won at Hawkesbury. This is the first preparation. He's come back as a gelding, and he's really turned the corner. He won third up. He then went back to Hawkesbury in a benchmark 75 where he got beat by a very good horse named Felines. He finished second to it. And then he went to Randwick, where he probably ran the best race of his career when finishing second in heavy 10 conditions in a photo finish. He was wide with no cover, yet still had the audacity to keep kicking and keep coming, and he just missed out. He really deserved to win that, but unfortunately that's just the way it goes. Another horse that won at very juicy odds for our owners was a filly named Fastnitz, who has always shown her fair share of ability. Her owners were very patient in this case, so they really deserve this particular win. At that point in time, she was 13 starts, ran a handful of placings, so she got close, but obviously never quite got there. Ran fourth first up, then went into a midweek provincial meeting at either Wyong or Gosford. And this particular race was quite difficult. It was full of very nice horses which were using the race as a stepping stone into something better. Horses like Paint and stablemate Russet. However, a beautiful ride by Winona Costin, and they just simply couldn't catch her in the straight. She led all the way and won very well at 23-1. She then raced 2 weeks later, where she finished 3/4 of a length to second, finishing fifth. You could have basically put a blanket over numbers 2 to 5. So she's really indicated that she's turned the corner. We're going to see her win more races, I believe, now that she's taken that next step. Another horse who won in town as a 2-year-old and pretty much done so on raw ability and just needed time to mature was a horse named Next Level. He won his second race for us. He has come back this preparation and has been very consistent. Finished third first up, third second up, and in that class 1 over 1400, third up, he won starting a $2.80 favourite. A nice horse that surprised all of us. When I say all of us, I mean owners, the trainer and myself, was a filly named Seeking Asylum, who really didn't show much in her trials, but left it all to race day rather, and of course we'd all prefer that. So given her beautiful pedigree, she was out of a imported mare from South Africa who won their version of the Golden Slipper. It was called the Greyville Golden Slipper, and she won 4 races at 2, so the dam was indeed a good 2-year-old. At this point we were thinking if we can get a 2-year-old win out of this filly, we could salvage her as a broodmare later down the track. So we sent her to Bathurst. First up over 1300, a 2-year-old against older horses, and she won. She then stepped up to a class 1 over 1300 at Newcastle, hit the front a little too early. The horse had the drop on her, and she finished second. Then on to Goulburn, where she started a $1.50 favourite. She won by a widening 3 lengths. So at this point, she was 3 starts for 2 wins, 1 second, all against older horses. And her fourth start was again to be against older horses. Now, usually she's made a habit of jumping very well and taking up a spot on the fence behind the leader and barely having to go around a horse. So it just puts herself in a perfect position. However, at this particular Kembla race, which was indeed her biggest test to date, she missed the start, and hindsight's a wonderful thing. We kind of wish he didn't do this, but it didn't matter in the end anyway. But jockey Grant Buckley thought at that point in time it was best to push her up to midfield. So you used a little bit of petrol to settle her around midfield somewhere. As I said, that was a little bit of a waste because just before the turn she was shuffled back to last. She was clipping heels of other horses and really lost her balance. She finally regained her balance once they straightened up. Grant Buckley did the very smart thing by pulling her out wide, giving her some room, and using her turn of foot. And she ran them down as though they were nailed to the fence and won very impressively. So at this point, we decided to give her a start in town on a Saturday. So she went into this particular race with 4 starts, 3 wins, a second, and rightfully so deserved a crack in town. She was up against the likes of Spruik Horses, Balboa Park, so it wasn't going to be easy. It was over the 1550. Canterbury wasn't the most suitable track, given she takes some time to wind up. As the commentator said, she was strung up around the corner. She was in trouble. Winone Costin basically got her in the clear with about 200 to go, and she charged home to run her down. Ran outstanding closing sectionals to catch these colts. So she went to the paddock with a record of 5 starts, 4 wins, 1 second, and that put her equal with Vancouver in terms of the most wins for a 2-year-old in that particular season. She will come back and target the Wakeful Stakes in the spring, so black type is certainly not beyond this filly. Another nice horse that has really impressed and has always shown talent is a horse named Sebring Son. He mixed it up with the best of the 2-year-olds, finished in a photo against Pirouettes at his first start. Arguably should have won as he ran off the track. Has form behind the likes of Furnaces and Exosphere. But as I've explained to owners before, the 2-year-old season at that point in time when you're trying to qualify for the slipper is quite difficult due to the restrictions you have on what races you can start in. There's not many options around and you don't have many chances. We gave him a break and he came back to take his place in the last 2-year-old race of the season. Hugh Bowman basically brought him from last on the turn, showed a devastating turn of foot to win arrogantly against some very nice horses who were trying to get that 2-year-old win before the season ticked over. He was carrying 59.5 kilos also in that race. So given Canterbury's not the longest of straights and he had that big weight, it was just an ultra impressive win. Hugh Bowman got him there basically using only hands and heels. Not once did he pull the whip. So it was indeed an arrogant win in the end. He then went on to the listed Rosebud Stakes, which was the first 3-year-old stakes race of the new season, and won as arrogantly as ever. Brenton Avdulla took the ride as he was weighted at 54 kilos. He was ridden ever so confidently, and basically he ran away from them with 50 metres to go. He really hit another gear. And while he was doing that, Brenton Avdulla basically sat up on him, gave him a pat down the neck, and it was just all over in the flash of an eye. From here, he will go to the Group 3 up-and-coming stakes, and if he is to win that, he then goes 3 weeks into the Group 1 Golden Rose. So he's a very exciting horse indeed. Horses to look out for. A horse who had his first start last week is a Stratum gelding named Cash Strapped. A horse you certainly want to keep your eye on. He's going to make a very handy 2,000 metre horse. He jumped the gates over the 1300 metre journey, was basically last on the turn, was running onto the back of horses, finally found daylight with 150 to go and stormed through to finish fourth. So I'll definitely be watching out for him. Horses who have yet to start their spring campaign, Tester Shadow, you certainly want to look out for him. He's won 2 races on a Saturday and finished second in the $1 million 3-year-old Magic Million Guineas. He's really coming to very well, and you can expect him to take his spot in some of the better spring races. And also a horse named I'm All the Talk, who everyone already knows. He's a Group 3 winner. He's done it quite tough, had to miss out on the majority of his 3-year-old year, had to sort out a few issues with him. He then came back, ran second in a welter at Randwick, then ran second in the Group 2 shorts over 1100 metres, went away, came back, ran a cracking race in the Group 1 Oakley Plate with 50 metres to go. He was still in the lead. However, that particular run took more out of him than he let on. So he went out and now he's come back bright as a button and ready to go. He's certainly got a couple more wins in him, and good wins at that. So he's one I would definitely be watching out for. Babies, we've got 2 very lovely babies. One being a Stratum colt out of a mare who won 14 races. This particular mare won a Group 1 in her own country and group races in the USA. When she was looking for more of a challenge, they took her over to America and she won there. He's the nicest Stratum colt or filly to walk down the stable driveway. And everyone knows how many Stratums we've bought. We've had a great run of luck with them. I'm All the Talk's a Stratum, a horse named Straturbo. He's a Stratum. Both have won over $300,000. Straturbo only finished second the other day against a very good horse named Boss Lane and won the 2015 Magic Millions sprint race. And Straturbo will be returning to defend his title, and Cosmic Cameo will be joining him. Basically, Cosmic Cameo will have his last run of his campaign next week in a benchmark 75 over 1100, and Straturbo will have his last run on the 22nd over 1,000 metres at Randwick, and both will be spelt and come back for the Maya $1 million Magic Million Sprint in 2016. We've also got a lovely Northern Meteor filly, and everyone loves the Northern Meteor. She's well bred. Had to pay a bit more money for her than the Stratum, as the Stratum was quite a find. He's currently 80% sold. This particular filly is your typical Northern Meteor. She's an absolute powerhouse, and you're really going to see the best of her as a late 2-year-old and early 3-year-old. So, if you're certainly interested, I would really be jumping on these 2 yearlings. As I've explained to many before, when you've got a horse that's won a substantial amount of prize money, we have a few of those in the stable, the best thing you can do is get into another young horse. Holding on to a nice horse thinking that they're going to run till they're 10, unfortunately that doesn't happen. The only way you get another nice horse is to have a couple of prospects coming through. Of course, we can't do it all the time, but when you've got a horse that makes it so easy by winning so much prize money in particular, the smartest thing you can do is reinvest and have those babies come through, because it could be your next good horse. We've got many owners that have 2-3 city horses racing all at the same time, so it certainly can happen. So that's it for this first edition of our online newsletter. As we did last week, we will continue to send through video footage so you can see what the elite stable is looking like for yourself. And we will send through another online newsletter in about 8 weeks' time, where hopefully we have just as many winners to report. So until then, see you next time.